Hello and welcome to Trying Times. If you're new here, then you're joining me for a very special episode. I've said this before in other episodes, but this one is a very special episode because if you're listening, you may or may not have seen the option to watch the video version of this episode. It's my very first time ever doing a video episode, and I'm so excited about it because I'm going to air myself out a little bit here. In the past, well, I have a past with video making. Wait, that sounds a little weird. Hold on. When I was younger, I actually had a YouTube channel. Now, I'm already kicking myself and I'm thinking, to what degree do I want to share that I had a YouTube channel? Well, I had a YouTube channel when I was a lot younger where I used to post. I'm going to air myself out. It's also been deleted. I'm just going to say it's been since deleted. So it's not available. You can't find it anywhere. But I actually had a YouTube channel where I used to post song covers. So, yeah, that's one thing. And then my other YouTube channel that I had, they were two separate entities altogether, was one where I did kind of funnier videos either with friends or I would do vlogs, just kind of like following something I wanted to try or do. I would bake, I would do makeup, I would share songs I liked at the time, just really a bunch of stuff. And I actually really enjoyed doing that until I realized, and there's nothing wrong with it, I had this instance in a couple workplaces, and it was never an issue, I'll start by saying that, where my employers actually later on revealed to me that they had seen my YouTube videos and they'd watched a bunch of my YouTube channel prior to hiring me to kind of vet me out and see what I was like, and I guess to see if my enthusiasm matched up to my interview personality, which in that case it certainly did. So once that happened twice, I decided to go ahead and wipe most of that from the internet. So now most of that is gone. If you go to my YouTube channel, like you'll find a few videos there that are older that were skits that I did like probably 3 or 4 years ago now that I liked, or they were like makeup videos, stuff just like that that I really enjoyed doing. And I didn't mind leaving that online because I was like, this could be fun. So I left it. So there's that. But now this is like my return to video after a very long time. And it feels very bizarre and exciting at the same time. And yeah, I'm just making sure all the things are still recording. My paranoia kicked in. I have like full muscle memory from when I used to record all the time to be like, is the microphone recording? Is the camera recording? Everything's good, I believe. So hopefully this continues to work out. But hello, welcome. If you're listening to this episode and you would prefer to watch and join me, then that should be available on Spotify, YouTube, potentially Apple Podcasts, I believe. I got to sort out some logistics, but this should be available in a few different places. So hopefully you can join me and watch this episode. If you've not watched before or you've not listened before, obviously you haven't watched before, this is the first one. If you've never listened before, then welcome. I'm giving you a giant hug, a one arm hug, because I have to hold the mic with my other hand. We're still figuring stuff out here. I'm currently recording in what I call my reading corner in my room. Just past the camera is my bookshelf with all my books and some knickknacks, some cute little stuffies or Funko Pops. I got some Sunny Angels on there. That's been the recent fun. And then I wish you could see more of this wall beside me because it has different mixed media, if you will. I have some canvases. I have actually a thing that my friend made for me a while ago, a cross stitch. And then I have a couple of these like little like screen printed posters. You can see the Sirius Black one behind me here, the Have You Seen This Wizard, this infamous poster. It's kind of creepy without the context of the rest of the wall. And the rest of the wall has nothing to do with this guy, but it's all just different stuff that I like in relation to music, film, reading. So yeah, it's my fun corner. And then behind me, I have a few stuffed animals. I got my boba right behind me over here. I have a little Build-A-Bear that was gifted to me a while ago, before my dog passed. So it's like him. And then this is from when I was younger. This is my bear. I named her Sabrina. I had no context. I think at the time I named her Sabrina because of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I really was into that. Now I guess I could put it in the context of like Sabrina Carpenter, who I can't stop listening to her. But yeah, Sabrina's wearing a High School Musical shirt. She's with the trends. She knows what's up. So yeah, this is my reading corner, and welcome. I hope you're just as cozy as I am. It's a very comfortable spot. I love being here really at any time. In the mornings, afternoon, night, whenever I get a chance to be here, I really enjoy it. It's fun, and I feel very fortunate to have a space like this to be able to just enjoy the thing that I love to do, which is reading or writing or scrolling through TikTok. Really, any of that can happen here. I really wanted to stick with a sort of comfortable space for the sake of today's episode, because this episode is going to be all about finding comfort within yourself. And funny enough, I will air myself out some more here. I've been really bad at this lately. Like, I've been so bad at finding comfort in myself lately. So I think that makes it a little bit more important to talk about this, because I can definitely take some pages out of the book that I'm about to read from today. So, yeah, to start, I feel like I've been trying really hard to really enforce this into my life lately, and it feels near impossible sometimes. Sometimes we get really down. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes circumstances are out of our control. There's a number of things, and really, ultimately, that's just life. Like, you can't do much to change that. But there are things that we can do to make ourselves feel better. And it's kind of funny because I think sometimes when we get really into a slump, it's so easy to forget all of the things that you love, or the things that bring you joy, or things that you can enforce to bring you joy. Like, it kind of just all slips our mind. I'll be honest, this morning I woke up and I forced myself to go to the gym. I talk about it often. I will be talking about it later in this episode. And if you're someone who is not into exercising or not into going to the gym, then you're going to be like, that's great for you. Why do I care? It's something, and again, I'll explain it further later. It's something that just makes me feel more comfortable in myself. It's something that helps me feel stronger. It's something that helps me feel overall just better in myself. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't I want to do that for me? You know, what about that is bad? Like, I can't really seem to find a fault in that. So it's something I have to sometimes force myself to do, whereas other times I'm just like, yep, I'm there. Like, I am going there. Because if I'm feeling down and out, I know that'll help me feel better. So I did that this morning, and now I feel very relaxed. My muscles and my nervous system are calming down. And I figured this would probably be the best state to record this in, because any other state, at least for the past few days, I've just been very on the fritz, como se dice, frantic. I've been very all over the place and not how I normally am. So I figured I want to set myself up in a really good way to feel comfortable and to feel confident and feel good and all the things to sit down and record this, especially because I wanted to do a video episode. And this is actually something that has been brought to me as an idea a couple times now. And I was really excited when I heard that people would want to watch as much as they would want to listen. So thank you to the friends that mentioned that. I hope this is fulfilling. I hope this is good. But yeah, it's my first time being on video in a very long time. So it's like a return, I guess. But, anyways, I will carry on with what I was saying earlier. Back to the whole thing of going to the gym, feeling frantic, all the things. I feel like at this point in my late 20s, there's a specific kind of discomfort that creeps up very, very often. And by the way, if you see me looking down, it's because my iPad's right here and I'm reading my notes. So bear with me. But I feel like with this discomfort that creeps up, it happens at very specific times. It'll happen when I wake up sometimes. Sometimes it'll happen when I'm in the midst of either preparing or about to eat a meal. Sometimes it'll happen right when I'm about to fall asleep, which is probably one of my least favorite moments. Granted, I don't like any of these moments. The one I despise the most is probably when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, "Oh, I had a great rest. I feel good. Today's gonna be a good day. I have all these things I want to do. There's all these things I need to do." And then that discomfort sets in and I'm like, "Why are you here right now? What is that about? What's going on here?" So, it's just not ideal. Clearly, anything uncomfortable is not ideal. And what exactly is this discomfort, you ask? That's a really good question. It relates to, I think, literally every aspect of life. So it could relate to your environment, your career, relationships, interests, everything. The thing with this discomfort is that nothing's off the table, and I think that's the most annoying part. And I think the thing with each of these is that there's a really good chance that all of these components in your life, all these circumstances are ever changing. And in so many ways, there's so many things here that are just out of our control, right? Like there's things that we cannot change ultimately in certain instances. Sometimes there are, but sometimes there really aren't. So it's kind of out of our control and we can't do much about that. And I think at this point in time, too, in life, where maybe not you, I know for myself and many people that I'm around also, we're all kind of surrounded by people that are going through very different moments in life, right? Like, if we just stop and think about it for a second, there are some people advancing in their careers. There are some people getting married. There are some people starting a family. There are some people that have maybe just moved to the other side of the country or to the other side of the world to reset and restart their lives. And everyone is doing something completely different or even very much the same to one another, depending on the space that you're in or the type of people that you might be around. I think that has a very big impact on stuff too. And I think at times it can make you feel like what you're doing is a little bit insufficient to a point. Now, I think with enough self assurance and enough self comfort and enough self confidence, these things don't fully really matter. But I think for any human, if you're living, breathing, there's a certain area where this kind of starts to become a pattern and you start to notice it more, at least at this point in age and in this point in time. It's very weird. Not to say that anything happening is weird, but it's weird how much you'll start to notice a pattern of things happening all at once. And I think it's just kind of like something that can start to bleed into your pattern of thoughts as well. And it's something that occurs, but it is one of those things that, even with self assurance and self confidence, it can take away from that certainty in yourself. It can take away from that certainty in what you want to do because it is a point in time where everybody's having really transitional things going on. And it's kind of like, well, crap, should I be doing that? Should I be trying that? Should I be trying this instead of what I'm doing? It's such a weird place to be mentally. I cannot explain it enough. And I'll be so honest when I say this, there have been a number of moments where I've struggled with this. And in full honesty, there are moments where I've been at the highest I've ever felt. Like I felt really good about everything. I felt really certain in myself. And even in those moments, it's still like, oh, wait, should I be doing this? Should I be doing something different? Is this enough? Should I be completely changing up what I'm doing and do like a U-turn and do something else? And I think that the truth with this, with myself at the moment at least, is that I'm still learning myself that what I'm doing is enough for me and whatever I choose to do is enough for me. And in the end, whatever I have to do to get to where I need to be is more than enough for me. And it's very interesting because I feel like we can say these things to ourselves and sometimes it kind of gets through to you, but sometimes it doesn't, if that makes sense. I have a very stubborn brain, and so sometimes it's hard to get her to just stop and shut up and listen. To be honest, it's tough. And I feel like there's like that moment of just doubt that kind of hits. And once that slowly creeps in, it makes everything else a little bit harder. So I think of this as a really good reminder that even when you have, in my instance at least, even when I have ultimately what I could dream of or what I could really, really want, sometimes it's possible for it to feel like it's not enough. And it's really shitty, but it's true. I think that's just part of the human experience. And it is weird how that happens because I think as people, we have a tendency to often be like, if I have this, it'll feel like enough. Or when I get this, I'll feel really good. Or when I achieve this, I'll feel fulfilled. No, 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 it doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, it does not work that way. And I think some of us are going to be learning that for the entirety of our lives. Some of us have already learned that, and some of us are kind of in the midst of like, okay, I kind of got the lesson, but like I might need a reminder a few more times. It's real frustrating because I think ultimately, when you find that comfort and fulfillment within yourself, a lot of these external sources don't really matter. And a big part of life is always having achievements of sorts and being able to have those transitional moments where you're able to reach a new milestone. And I think without those, sometimes we feel like, oh, we're unfulfilled or we're not doing enough. And that's absolutely not the truth. I think if you're doing stuff that is fulfilling for you and you feel fulfilled within yourself, then there's nothing wrong with that. Granted, it's very easy to say these things and then be like, well, okay, how do I get there? What do I do? So we'll get into that. I think being stuck in these phases and in these moments can sometimes drag on. And I think in this time, it can teach you a lot about yourself and it can teach you a lot of perseverance as well, which I know that sounds really lame, but just stick with me, okay? You're probably like, yeah, get to the point. And I am literally here to hear how the heck you're finding comfort in yourself. I get it, and I'm trying to get there. But the truth is just that I'm still learning this myself, and what I'm willing to share is some things that I've learned and some things that have allowed that to feel a little bit easier for myself. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you, okay? I don't have a full guide to this because, I mean, if I do one day, I'll come back and I'll do another video episode and I'll share all of it because I think that's like everybody's goal and key to like unlocking things in life, right? But if I ever get there, I'll let you know. At the moment, I'm still learning, okay? So to start, in these times, I think where you're feeling uncertain in yourself or you're feeling like not enough, I think one of the best ways to find comfort is to really think about what brings you joy. And before I carry on with this one, I want to give some credit here to my best friend, Victoria, because she's really been there for me in a lot of turmoil, especially in the past little while. And in so many ways, I've known her for 14 years now, which is nuts. And so she's seen me through many different moons of life, if you will. But she's given me some really great advice lately. And one of those things is to reconnect with your joys. So I think one of the ways that she mentioned to do this is to find the things that you want to try, the things that you have interests in, write them all down, and then slowly work through that list in ways that feel achievable, in ways that you can. It's not like if you want to go skydiving, yeah, you can write that down, but it's not like you have to go do it tomorrow. That's a little intense. Me, I like gravity and staying planted, so I will not be putting that on my list. But for you, if that is one of your things, I don't know, maybe if you do want to go try it tomorrow, you could. That's fine. That's cool, but there's no rush, basically. But you're putting all these things down in front of you that you do want to achieve, things that you do have an interest in, and you just get to slowly work at that. And I think that that's incredibly fulfilling as a thought as well, just to yourself to know this is for me. I'm going to do this. This is what I like. That's awesome. So basically, for me, one of the things I love to do is I start to think of ways, for instance, like I've had a rough couple weeks, like I mentioned, but sitting here and recording a video episode for me is exciting for a lot of different reasons. Like I said earlier, I haven't done this in a very long time. So it's forcing me to do something that is now, I guess, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but it's something that I still know I enjoy. So this is one thing for me that I can say I can check off my list, and I was more than happy to do it, and it's making me feel better. So I think that that's another example of like, if you like being creative in a sense where you're working with video, get out and make something, or stay in the house and make something, or go hang out with a friend and make something. Either way, make something. And it doesn't have to be for other people to see, it could just be for you. I think that that's a wonderful idea. Another thing for me, I love to read. So I actively try to find something that interests me and then get into a story. Currently, I am reading a book for a book club. I actually have to start it. And I'm on the side of that reading another book that I picked up just in my own time and something that I find interesting. So I think there's a lot of different ways to do that for you and to feel fulfilled. So if you are into reading, pick up a book that you've been meaning to read, or check out your local bookstore and see if there's one there that's new that you've maybe never seen that you do want to check out, because that could be fun. That could be a really great way to do that. I also really love to watch movies. And this is something that you can do either from home with friends or you could go out and do. Go watch a movie. It's such a great way to just like hang out and be. And again, this is something you could do solo or with friends. So if you're looking for a way to find that comfort in yourself, maybe head to a movie by yourself. Or if you want to do that from home and feel more comfortable, set up a very cozy spot or space for you to do that and enjoy. I think that's great. So, as I mentioned earlier, another big thing that I really want to mention here is going to the gym. I joke about this all the time because it's just like if you don't like exercise, you don't like exercise. I'm never going to be like, go do it. I will say, for me, I walk into the gym like the Grinch, like Jim Carrey in The Grinch. And then I leave the gym like Will Ferrell in The Elf or in Elf. Oh my God, I'm old. I said in The Elf, in Elf. I leave the gym like Will Ferrell and Elf, which says a lot about me. It says a lot about how that works for me, my brain, my body, all the things. I think a big part of why I like going to the gym isn't just for strengthening yourself, but it's also like the impact it has on your brain is truly astounding. Like my endorphins be endorphining. So it is something that I will stick to for as long as I can because it helps. And it's also a really great thing to do, again, either with a friend, but in this instance, if you're trying to find comfort in yourself, go ahead and head to a gym near you, a community center, whatever it may be. If you can't get to a gym, then go for a walk. Again, this is all about connecting to your hobbies, like I said. And another side of that is very much connecting to yourself to find that comfort in yourself, right? Because that's really all what we're here for right now, or so I would hope. Or if you're just here to hang out, that's cool too. Then no pressure, that's fine. But I think a big part of connecting to yourself with your hobbies, like I said earlier, if you're not someone who enjoys going to the gym, then I would say going for a walk, like I mentioned, or being outdoors helps so immensely. It's just a really great way to get you in your body, maybe a little bit out of your environment, a little bit out of your head, but you're still very present in yourself. And it gives you the opportunity to just enjoy that time by yourself. I love going for runs or for walks, and what I'll do is I'll just pop headphones on and I'll put on a podcast or play one of my favorite playlists, and then I just go. And I could be gone for anywhere between like 20 minutes to an hour and a half. Like there's no telling. But I think that's a really great way to spend some time being comfortable in yourself and finding comfort in yourself. And it gets you very present in your body because you're doing something for yourself and you're also doing it outside of your home, maybe outside of another comfort place that you might have. So I think that that's a great way to be comfortable in yourself and to get you to enjoy spending time with yourself as well. So that's a really big one I wanted to say. Another great way to find comfort in yourself is to meditate. This, if you're not into this, I know, just hear me out, okay? Because it's so easy to form a preconceived notion about this, and it gets a lot of gas at the same time for a good reason, I think. A big part of finding comfort in yourself, at least for me, is to connect not only to those things that bring me joy or to those things that make me more active in my body, but also to learn to be still in my body because as you can tell, I love to be up and running around and doing the things, but also I think equally it's very important to practice being still in your body and being still in your own space, which sounds probably a little like woo woo, but I think it's important. I think it's very, very necessary. And I think as much as I'm doing the whole thing where it's like, okay, you're moving around and doing all of that, it's very good to balance that with like, okay, now we got to practice to be still. You got to practice to just like breathe and calm down, you know? So, I think doing this, especially if you have an active or a very active mind that does not pause from thinking or overthinking or ruminating or whatever it may be, this is a great way to learn to pause and reassess or just pause in general. Because I mean, that's necessary as well at the end of the day. It's so easy to think yourself into a hole, but it's better to learn from yourself really as a resource more than anything how to I guess be still and know like okay I can handle this more than anything. I think it's very easy to remember like that you don't have control over certain things, but it's hard to remember that you have control over yourself. So just saying, just saying that's a really good thing to practice and it's very very healthy. So I'll add that there are a lot of different kinds of meditations out there. There's your standard guided meditation, which is wonderful. Then there are meditations that might prompt you in a similar manner to yoga, so it has a little bit more movement. There are somatic meditations, and more that I'm probably forgetting about. Lately, I've been doing guided somatic meditations, which I feel like is the best option for me lately. And oftentimes, a lot of somatic work relates to minor and intentional movements. So it'll be things like wiggling your toes or wiggling your fingers to kind of get that movement in your body to feel really present, as opposed to feeling like kind of just like really still. And then once you open your eyes, you're like, oh, and maybe you feel a little overwhelmed. I find that for me, at least, that helps with things like anxiety. It helps to be very positive and grounding yourself and so forth. So and also feeling with purpose, I want to say. It's very intentional to feel with purpose. So I love that. It also has the potential to provoke emotion. That's a big thing I want to add here. If you're maybe pushing something down and you try a somatic guided meditation or guided somatic meditation, this is probably something that's going to be brought up in one way or another and leave you feeling definitely more at ease afterwards, I will say. You'll probably feel tired, but you'll feel more at ease afterwards because it's like a release in a sense. So I did want to add that. I am also I'm a highly sensitive person. So this is something that I absolutely say is not for the weak. I guess me in the scenario being considered the weak. But I do recommend it because I find it to be really enlightening and it's just a really wonderful way to learn so much about yourself. So that's another one. So far I've talked about ways to bring you joy by engaging in hobbies, ways to engage your body physically by being active in any way that you want, and then ways to engage your mind by being meditative. The last suggestion that I have is to do more so with offloading your stressors in a way that can work at any time and anywhere. And if you're feeling immensely stressed and need to release something or whatever it may be, just pick up a piece of paper and a pen and get to writing. And you're probably like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? I'm talking about journaling. I did an episode about this a while ago, and it's something that I live by. Genuinely, I believe that talking to someone is such a relief. I'm a huge advocate for therapy, talking to friends, family, loved ones about anything you might be struggling with. Obviously, that's one of the best recommendations ever. If you're ever going through something and you're just kind of like, "Oh my God, I don't want to talk to someone right now, but I just want to feel like some relief. I want to get this out of my head." I cannot recommend journaling enough. It's truly so, so wonderful. And I feel like it's a huge resource available to us literally at all times. Like if you're feeling stressed or alone, upset, whatever it may be, and this is regardless of whether you're home or you're out and about, if you can't grab a piece of paper and a pen in that moment, maybe pick up your phone. Granted, I know the relief of writing is something that really can't be matched with typing, but there's a way to always get it out, which I think is really important. So, and again, I'm a huge advocate for therapy and speaking with loved ones. And if that's a resource available to you, then I absolutely say please do try that. Again, this is not a replacement for those things by any means, but this is just more so a way for you to find comfort by yourself and in yourself by just releasing those inner thoughts and concerns in a way that's possible whenever and wherever. So, for me, I've been in instances. Again, this is a very, I like how I turned the camera on and I'm sharing all the things about myself today, which normally I share some funny and embarrassing things about myself, but this is more like, this is more intimate, I feel. I don't know. But for me, I've been in instances where I've been totally alone and I've been living in a different space altogether, even in a different time zone. And I knew that I could shoot a text to a family member or to a friend if I ever really needed to, but I didn't want to wake anyone up or disturb anyone in their lives also, which is a huge thing. I think a lot of us feel that sometimes we just don't want to disturb someone. So I took to pen and paper and I got a lot of stress out that way. And it taught me some resilience and to know that I can really trust myself and build trust with myself and release stress in this way and just be a little bit more patient. It also teaches you a little bit of patience and it's forcing me to be present because I'm talking about it, just not with anybody sitting directly with me or maybe on the other end of the phone. So, yeah, that's a really, really great suggestion from me, at least. I think that that's a really wonderful thing to try and do if you have not tried it yet. So definitely try that. So, those are just some ways to kind of practice and find comfort within yourself. Actually, I'll add one more thing because I think all the things I mentioned are things that you can either do alone or with a friend. And I realize that sometimes going out and doing things on your own might feel a little daunting. So I just wanted to add in that if you're feeling really good about yourself, let's tie it back, for instance, to that example of creating a list of things that you really enjoy and that you want to try. If you are feeling really good about yourself, go out and do one of those things on your own completely if you haven't already, or if you want to try. This could be like going out to eat a meal, going shopping, going to a movie, going to a concert. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be like that extreme, by the way. You can start by going for a walk. If that feels like a lot, then maybe just stick really close to your home. Maybe sit nearby and read a book or something. Just anything to really get you out and try something different. So, yeah, that's it really. I think that there's a huge level of trust with yourself when you feel comfortable to do any of those things alone. And it can be really strengthening when it comes to building, I think, the most important relationship that there is, and that's the one with yourself. So that sounded kind of cheesy, but I do believe that, and I think it's very important. So that's it now. No more recommendations. That's actually the last of it. I will probably think of a bunch after this because that's always how it goes when I record. I say a bunch of things, and then once I stop recording and I'm editing the episode, I sit there and I'm like, I didn't mention this. I didn't talk about this. Why didn't I bring this up? It will probably happen with this. So that is to be continued, I guess. It's no surprise if that does happen. But I will say, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you being here. And I just want you to know that I hope whenever you're listening to this, whether it's in the morning, the afternoon, evening, night, whenever that may be, I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful time, day, night. Again, I hope whatever it is, it's really good. I hope you're doing really good. And if you want to chat a little bit more about this and share more about what brings you comfort or joy, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at the Trying Times Podcast. I would love to talk to you about that, and I'd love to hear more about what you think about all of this. So, yeah, that'd be great. I hope to hear from you soon, and we'll chat again soon, okay? Bye.